So guess where I am? It's the parking for the courthouse. I'm here because I have a tenant that hasn't paid pretty much all year. I'll tell you more in a second. Yeah, so I came down to the courthouse, and I'm not good at this. I very rarely have to go to court. I very rarely have to go to court to ask help getting a tenant out. But times being what they are, we have a 22-year-old, very healthy male that says he can't find a job. If you open up pretty much any news paper or online newspaper, there are record amounts of employers looking for people. They're trying to hire anyone they can. But this particular guy, he can't find a job. So I think what it is I need to push him out, and that's why I'm here. So what do I mean by push him out? I think he wants this government to pay his rent, and he's not doing anything about it. So he wants the judge to formalize the whole process, and that's really not the way it's done. He's supposed to apply for things on his own. I don't really want anything to do with the guy. He just sits around smoking, and smoking's not allowed. And he's very dirty, and in this day and age, being dirty is frowned upon. Not washing your hands and things like that. And what do I mean by dirty? Well, yesterday a nice girl came by to look at the rental, and she walks in and suddenly she's overwhelmed by the smell of pot. She says, "I can't live here. There's no way I can live here." And I don't blame her. So pushing that tenant out was pretty necessary. Filed papers, $15, and then $5 extra to have the sheriff serve him. Today's the 11th. We'll be in court on the 27th. That's pretty impressive. I don't have much experience with evicting tenants. I generally screen pretty well. Now I get shafted a lot. People, they don't have money. They leave with owing month or 2 months, sometimes even worse. But those people really don't have money. This guy, 22 years old, very healthy, sits around and smokes pot. And yesterday, as it happens, a girl came out to take a look at the house. The minute she walked in, she said, "I can't live here. The smell of the pot is too strong." It was pretty embarrassing for me, but we are remedying that. The very next day, I'm at the courthouse. I was giving him all sorts of leeway, never charging late fees or anything, and I would bring him food from the food bank. Did that like 3 times over the last few weeks. He claimed he had no money. Really, he had carry-out food coming to him. So it's one of those things where you don't believe him, but you have to give the benefit of the doubt if you're like me. And if you're like me, you should change your ways, because I'll let people take advantage of me from time to time. But I'll be okay. Don't worry about me. It'll be a little harder, but I'll be fine. So rather than talking about tenants and how they just lay around all day, let's move on to a better story. Most important thing to remember about being a landlord is when things come up that you don't like, or things come up that you have very little control over, instead of just flying away and doing nothing, you have to keep keep with your plans. And in my case, I was going to go over to the airport and pick up a new tenant. I had a lot to do, but I was thinking I can head down to the airport that's in the city, but on the way I'll catch the courthouse, and that was the plan. Now, I don't live with air conditioning, I don't drive with air conditioning, and I was thinking I have a new tenant coming and it's crazy hot. I think it was in the 90s or something like that. So the plan was to stop in, get some lemonade. So I saw a grocery store that I go to all the time, and I pull in and easy park, easy jump out, head inside, get some lemonade. I'm gonna get something else, I can't remember what I was gonna get, but I walk in and the lemonade's not where it's supposed to be. It is right up front, and get this, it's on sale just for me. Oh, that's it, water. Yeah, lemonade and water. I went and bought some water for him. I didn't know if he'd be jet lagged or hungry or what, but I figure good old-fashioned American lemonade is pretty sweet. So if a person's not used to that, they might just want some water. So a gallon of water it was, and I went to the cashier, and a lot of the times there'll be long lines. There was nobody. It was great. So I got checked out, and no problem. I looked at the clock, right on time still. Now I was thinking, I'm not going to go there for a flight that lands at 4:30. I told him to meet me outside at 5:15. I will just pull up, he jumps in, off we go. But I started getting a little bit of traffic, and still hadn't been to the courthouse at that point. So I do get to the courthouse, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I hate being here, this isn't going to be good. This isn't like being in some garden or something like that. So you never guess what happens at the courthouse. I go through security, that's a piece of cake. I ask the nice gentleman there, where am I supposed to go, because I'm really lost. They send me to the room up at the top of the steps, and I walk in. There are two ladies there working. It's 10 minutes after 4 o'clock at that point in time. They close at 4:30, and there's only two ladies in there being served. And the two ladies being in there served look like they're puzzled and lost and filling out some form. So I get helped right away. And I had come there with my form pre-printed. You can't print out the forms on the internet. You can, however, fill out a form if you're, it's not so much licensed, but registered with them. You can do the work on the internet, but that's for frequent flyers, and that wasn't for me. So I brought my printout just so I could copy it over and write on their forms by hand. Lady hands me a form, says go over there, have a seat, take your time. Now, before even getting down to the courthouse, I had to go to the post office and get one money order for the courthouse, which is $15, and another money order for the sheriff, which is $5. So I go to the post office, and that was nothing short of a miracle. I walk in, there are 3 people there, and they're all filling things out at the counter. None of them are ready to be served. I walk straight up to the counter, I ask for my money orders, lady rings me up, and I'm out of there. You basically could not rob a post office as fast as I was in there and out of there. It was a miracle. Now it was really on schedule. Schedule or not, I was ready to go. I got up from my seat, walked back over to the lady at the counter, gave her my money orders, gave her my filled out form, and she said, "You forgot to put the tenant's name." Anyway, I had a good laugh out of that. So quickly added the name, that helps, and she put her stamp of approval on all the pages. and gave me my copy, asked me to walk over to the other counter where the other lady was sitting half asleep, and she was the cashier, and I got her paid. So I was all set, ready to go. It had taken me about 10 minutes, so let that be a lesson to me not to put off filing on a tenant that's not paying, because if you go at the end of the day, people are real quick to help you, because I think they just want to go home at that point. But what really got my attention before leaving was I said to the ladies, I said, may I take a few of those extra forms? And I added, it's probably a lot easier for you when people file online. Wouldn't that be easier for you? And she answered, oh no, online is all backed up. The best thing you could have possibly done is come in here and filled it out by hand. So how about that? Had I filed online, I'd be waiting. Whereas I got the court date, what was it, 16 days up later, if I'm remembering right. Oh, go on, admit it. You're just like me. You have a whole bunch of these broken shovels. I keep them knowing that they don't make handles in the United States anymore. Exactly what am I going to do with them? I was going to weld all the rakes together and make like a rake, giant rake you could tow behind, clean up baseball fields. But I might as well make some art. Well, I was finished at the courthouse, so I said, thank you very much, ladies. And I skedaddled down the steps. I passed the security guard. I wished him a nice, pleasant evening and thanked him for his help. And I was out the door. Pretty soon the tenant texts me. He said his flight is delayed a half an hour. Well, no sooner did he text me that, I get bumper to bumper traffic, some kind of construction. No problem, I got the extra time. The tenant texts me again. Now his flight is delayed an hour. So I'm thinking, alright, I need the time at this point. All my planning doesn't work out. Then the tenant texts me and says, everything's turned to chaos. His flight is canceled altogether. I'm in the city. He is not. He won't be there for another couple days, as it turns out. Well, it's crazy hot outside. And the good news is I've got a whole bunch of lemonade. So all I need to do is find a nice shade tree and I'll be okay. Thank you very, 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 very much for keeping me company. And I'll video some more very, very soon.